It's not just adventure alone that brings me to the Adirondack Park. It's also history. Here sits Durant Lake, named after William West Durant. William was a designer and developer of Adirondack camps like Uncas, Pine, Knot, and Great Sagamore. William's father, Thomas, he formed the Adirondack Company, which accumulated 500,000 acres of land for just 5 cents apiece at auctions, with hopes of an Adirondack Railroad. The Adirondacks were established in 1892. The park itself contains over 6 million acres, with more than 100 peaks, of which 46 are over 4,000 feet, with Mount Marcy being the tallest. There are over 200 named lakes and over 3,000 other bodies of water in the Adirondack Park. The Adirondack Mountains, they're referred to as new mountains from old rocks. This is due to their young age of 1 billion years old, formed from glaciers. It's the outdoors, it's the recreation, the fishing, the hiking, the hunting, the camping, and the love of the wild, which brings folks to the Adirondack Park. The recreation, the hiking, the influx of visitors in the summer months is what brings us to an encounter, a Bigfoot encounter.
Late summer, early afternoon, witness and a friend hiking a trail to the fire tower. As they approached, they had an eerie feeling, which they said they've never had during the daylight before. The wind, it suddenly picked up, which was strange, bringing in a cold breeze and the smell of rain in the air. They went with their gut feeling and began to head back. About 10 minutes into their descent, a large rock came flying past their right side, missing their heads, hitting a boulder near the trail, causing a large crack noise in the air. The stone was about the size of a grapefruit. It hit, then rolled into the forest quite a bit. At this point, both witnesses were extremely scared. They looked at each other and said, "Something very big just threw that rock." They stood frozen, watching, listening, wondering what could have thrown that rock. After a few minutes, they both began to move, and start to move fast. They decided to throw rocks back in the direction from which they came, to deter the perpetrator or bring an understanding of their whereabouts. Shortly after, there was return fire. Rocks thrown above their head and behind them. It seemed playful, then it became aggressive. They can hear trees shaking, branches cracking, something moving toward them. They stop to listen and watch. Nothing. Dead quiet. One witness took 2 steps into the direction of the shaking trees. She stated her stomach dropped. Something was there. It was not seen, but it was felt. They picked up the pace again down trail. They began throwing rocks back in the same direction again. Rocks came back to them more aggressively, toward them, no longer around them. One just missing their head, hitting a tree and landing on the trail, the size of a baseball. Again, they picked up their pace. They moved faster. They can hear sounds of footsteps, as if something was paralleling them, following them out, down the trail. They also described hearing sounds of a whining, like a baby animal. They heard knocks, they heard footsteps, they heard numerous sounds, very active noise moving through the forest. As they reached the end of the trail, one large rock came whizzing by their heads. They ducked just in time. It would have hit them. The second they took one step out of the forest, dead silence. Total quiet. Not a movement, not a sound.
This encounter is what brought me to the area, to the Blue Mountain Lake area. This was a very interesting location. There was a lot to look at. One of the things I noticed was a lot of trees broken at about 6 to 8 feet up. It was very interesting. I've seen this before in the previous investigation. Same as the last, they're lined up. You can see the breaks. Are they marking a path? Is this some sort of notification of direction? The ground felt uneasy under my feet. Lots of branches. Lots of old growth. It was interesting to walk around in this area. I didn't find many signs. I didn't find X formations. But I did find a lot of markings. A lot of trees. Broken at a height that's unnatural. I didn't find any shelters. I don't think I found any prints. There was possible prints. They seemed small, so I moved on. I did not find any direct evidence. I didn't hear any tree shakes. I didn't see any tree shakes. I didn't hear any wood cracking or knocks. But I did feel something. I felt something in my soul. I felt Bigfoot.